Hello, I'm Greg Hunter. Thank you for joining us today on USAWatchdog.com. Back with us once again, Peter Schiff. He is the CEO of Euro-Pacific Precious Metals. Peter Schiff, lots to talk about today. Thank you for joining us.
Sure. Thanks for inviting me back on.
Well, let's talk about Cyprus. I mean, they say, hey, it's all solved except for one thing, capital controls. What's going on in Cyprus?
Well, it's really a wake-up call for everybody that has a bank deposit. A lot of people put their money into these Cypriot banks, and they were really complacent about the risks that they were taking. When you are a depositor, you are, in fact, a creditor of a bank. You are lending your money to the bank. Now, in many cases, the deposits are protected by some kind of government deposit scheme, and so people figure there's no point in worrying about it, although the deposits do have limits, and there are accounts that exceed those limits. But in many cases, everybody expects there to be some kind of government bailout, no matter what, that this depositor relationship is somehow sacrosanct, and that is part of the problem. Because it leads to much riskier lending activity on the part of banks than would be the case if you didn't have this moral hazard. If governments weren't backstopping banks, then depositors would be more careful about where they put their money, and therefore banks competing for those more prudent depositors would pursue a more conservative structure of their loans so that they would have a bank that would be able to attract customers. But so that doesn't happen because of the government. And I think people need to, look at this and learn a lesson.
Well, could this spread to Europe? And that's what some people are thinking, that once people start beating on the door saying, hey, I can only get 100 euros out of my account today or this week or whatever they decide, couldn't this spread to Europe? And what about U.S. banks? I mean, we have 10.8 trillion in deposits. I just checked this with the FDIC. 10.8 trillion in deposits, 33 billion in the insurance fund. And of course, they have a $100 billion line of credit to the Treasury, but 10.8 trillion in deposits in U.S. banks, 33 billion in insurance.
Yeah, and of course, the money they do have, the 33 billion, if indeed it's that much, I thought it was a little lighter than that, but all of that is in U.S. Treasuries, so they'd have to sell those Treasuries, and in order to tap their line of credit to the Treasury is tapped out itself. So the Treasury is going to have to sell bonds in order to give money to the FDIC. So in other words, we would have to have a massive bailout in the event that we had major banking failures here in the United States. But look, there's no question that this will spread in that other banks will fail. The question is, will governments do the right thing and allow the depositors to lose money, or do the wrong thing and bail out the depositors by printing a bunch of money, which in the long run means that the deposits will lose even more value, as will any money that's not on deposit. Money stuffed under your mattress will lose value if they have to print money in order to bail out the bank deposits. And the other factor is, are people going to be more reluctant to deposit money in the bank? Are they going to be worried about a bank failure? And I think with interest rates so low in many parts of the world, for example, here in the United States, banks are paying no interest. So why take a chance? I mean, why leave any money beyond what you immediately need, to clear your rent check? Why would you leave any extra money in a bank to get 0% interest when you know that your bank is probably insolvent, may very well fail, and even if the FDIC bails you out, you're going to lose to inflation. So why take a risk? I think pull your money out, put it in some kind of investment. You could buy stocks, you can buy real estate, buy gold, buy anything other than a piece of paper, which is going to lose value.
Do you think the Cyprus thing spreads across Europe and eventually comes over here? A. B, was this the litmus test? We'll take some money from depositors. The IMF is involved in this. Their address is Washington, D.C. And the ECB is involved in this. Is Cyprus their little litmus test to see how they're going to proceed in the future, that, well, your deposits really can go for a tax?
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're going to try to distance themselves from this. First they said it's a template. Now it's not a template. I think the politics are going to put pressure on European officials.